beautiful friends, and welcome back to another video. I hope you are having a beautiful week so far and you've been keeping really well. I am so excited to share what I eat in a week with you this week, but before I get into anything, I need to tell you a story about my day yesterday. So my major goal for 2025 is to learn how to surf, because it's something that I've been wanting to learn for like the past decade, but honestly I have been letting the fear hold me back. But my boyfriend is a good surfer and he's committed to teaching me this year, and I have committed to learning, which I am really excited about. So yesterday morning we went in for a surf, and all of a sudden the surf got quite big, at least for me as a beginner who hadn't stood up yet at this point. Like, I'm a confident swimmer, but surfing just feels like honestly a whole other realm. And basically this massive wave ended up getting me and I was tumbling everywhere, and I'm speaking about it lightly now, but I was absolutely terrified and crying in the moment because I was so overwhelmed. And whilst this was all happening, I copped a surfboard fin to the face. And honestly, I feel like you can't see anything at all, but I have like bruising under the skin from here all the way down to here, and I can feel like a bit of swelling happening, and it's actually so sore. And the reason I wanted to mention this is because I feel like I'm talking so weird and I cannot eat with this side of my mouth or smile with this side of my mouth. So I feel like not only may the bruising really come up during this week of vegan eats, but as well as that, I'll be eating with only this side of my mouth, which may look a little bit funny, but these things happen. And the good news is that I ended up pushing through and going for another surf yesterday afternoon, and I stood up for the first time. It was only for 2 seconds, but I still did it. And honestly, I'm really proud of myself because it was a really scary experience in the morning that easily could have put me off, but I'm just like really committed to learning and really excited about learning. So I'm proud of myself for doing that. Anyway, that's just a little bit of a story to get this video started, but let's actually get into the food now. I'm so excited to make breakfast this morning, and I think I'm just gonna start the day and start the week with an Amanda Ducks classic. So let's get into making it. Okay, so to start my day and my week, I made myself a lovely iced cacao. And if you are new to my channel, get used to seeing these because I am not a coffee drinker, but I'm certainly a cacao drinker, and iced cacao has become an absolute staple in my diet. So I started my day with that and then got into making myself some breakfast. I started with this barbecue tempeh that I cut up, and then I just fried up for a few minutes in a little bit of oil until it was nice and crispy on either side. And then I'm making myself a delicious breakfast sandwich. So I've got some vegan mayo, some greens, some sliced tomato, that tempeh, and then the piece of bread on top, cutting that open, and that is my very delicious breakfast. Honestly, the perfect Monday breakfast, if you ask me. When it came to lunch, I felt like keeping it relatively simple, and I had some veggies to use up in the fridge. So I put some onion into a pan with some garlic and some oil, and I fried that up before adding in some lemon juice, as well as some soy milk, some nutritional yeast, and some veggie stock powder, and mixing that together on a low heat. Then I added in some cooked pasta as well as silver beet and some zucchini, and I continued to cook this up for about 5 minutes before transferring into a bowl and topping with some hemp seeds for a very quick and easy and lovely lunch. I feel like I just naturally eat so much more fruit in the summertime, and lately this has been one of my favorite little treats. I cut up some strawberries and then drizzle with some melted dark chocolate in a bowl, and it is just absolutely divine and so nostalgic as well. So I have been loving this recently. And something else I have been loving recently is this delicious tofu bowl that I made for dinner. It's so simple and nourishing, and that's why I love it so much. I cubed the tofu, put it with some veggie stock powder and corn flour, coat it well, and then drizzle with a little bit of oil and transfer it into the oven to bake. Whilst it's baking, I slice up some brown onion as well as crush some garlic, and then I transfer these into a frying pan with a little bit of olive oil, and then I also add in some soy sauce as well as some teriyaki sauce on a relatively low heat. I'm going to mix this all together, and once the tofu has got nice and crispy in the oven, I add it in with this sauce and coat it really well. Then to serve this, I very simply serve with some steamed broccoli as well as some rice. I add on all of that delicious tofu and then sprinkle with some sesame seeds for a really quick and easy nourishing dinner. after a gorgeous morning walk, I am once again starting my day with an iced cacao, and if you're interested in trying to make this at home, I will leave the link to how I make it down in the description box below. But I really enjoyed this, and there's something so satisfying about this pour over shot. It just never gets old. I've been doing this for years and it's still so satisfying. Anyway, when it came to breakfast, I really felt like making some homemade bagels. It's kind of like a random fact, but in our last home, the oven really was not the greatest. And so when I tried to bake things like this, they honestly never worked out. Our new home, the oven is really good. And so I decided to return to making some bagels that I hadn't done so in a while. And what I will say is that they definitely didn't turn out as well as they used to turn out when I made them. I don't know if I did anything wrong with making this recipe. I'm really good at making flatbreads, but other breads I just don't seem to nail. But regardless, I really did enjoy this process, and this is something that I love about making homemade flatbreads and bagels and things like that do take time. I feel like you put so much love into making them that you can almost taste the love when you eat it. I know that it's cheesy, but honestly, it's just very true for me. Anyway, I made these bagels. They definitely didn't turn out perfectly, but I still decided to eat and enjoy them. And onto these, I put some peanut butter as well as some blueberry jam. So I have been absolutely loving jam lately, which is quite a new thing for me because, to be honest, I feel like throughout my life I've just not really found a jam that I really love. And when I've got the ones from the supermarket and stuff like that, I found them to be like really sickly sweet. That was until the end of last year when I tried the jams by Poto Pure, and this one is my favorite. It's the strawberry jam by Poto Pure, but I also really enjoy their blueberry jam, which I had on my breakfast this morning. And I want to say a big thank you to my friends at Poto Pure for sponsoring this video, but also just like changing the game for me with jams in general, because now I actually enjoy them as a part of my diet. Poto Pure's jams have no added sugar or sweetener. They contain no artificial preservatives, and they are 100% derived from fruit. The texture of them is honestly so good because it has the actual real whole fruit chunks in there, which I personally really enjoy. And as I'm sure I've already mentioned, the flavor of these jams is just so good. Doesn't have any of that artificial sweetness flavor, and that's personally why I love them so much. I'll leave a link down in the description box below if you do want to check them out. And Poto Pure have also very kindly offered a 20% discount, so I'll leave the code for that on the screen as well as in the description box below. If you do decide to try them out, I hope you love them as much as I do. And I also think these are a really gorgeous gift for a loved one. If you have a foodie in your life, they may love something like this. Anyway, it has turned into a very gloomy summer day here, so I'm going to spend most of my day editing, but I'm really looking forward to catching up with my friends tonight, eating some good food, and fingers crossed the sun will come out for the rest of the week. Something else you may already know that I enjoy a lot is a lovely kombucha whilst I'm cooking lunch, and that's exactly what I went for today. My lunch was really simple because I was having a pretty busy editing day and I wanted to make something really quick and easy. So I cut up some mango as well as some cucumber and some avocado, and then I'm transferring all of these into a bowl, adding in some lime juice and some coconut yogurt as well, and I'm mixing this all together, transferring it into a bowl and then serving with some corn chips. It's kind of like a really fresh mango avocado salsa, I suppose. I also put some hemp seeds on top as well, and yeah, it was really good. And then on Tuesday evening, my friends and I decided to go out for dinner because we were going to a musical after, so we grabbed a little pre-musical dinner. I had some Asian greens as well as these delicious caramel kind of potatoes. I don't know exactly what they were, but they were vegan and they were delicious. I also have this salt and pepper tofu, which is honestly the best salt and pepper tofu that I have ever had. And yeah, this food was really good. And then afterwards we went to go and see Grease the musical, which was so nice. I love going to musicals so much, and really lovely way to spend a Tuesday evening. On Wednesday morning, I was craving a little bit of a slower morning and getting myself out of the house, so I took myself for a drive and listened to some music, and then decided to get myself a lovely literally a acai bowl for breakfast. This one was loaded with peanut butter as well as chocolate granola, and it was so gorgeous sitting in the sunshine and enjoying this. I used to have acai bowls for breakfast like nearly every single day, so it's always a bit nostalgic when I get one for breakfast. Then at about 11:30 I was ready for a bit of lunch, and so I had some barbecue tempeh, which I just fried up like I did on Monday, and I love this so much as a really quick and easy plant-based protein source. It is so good, and I just love having it in the fridge for days like this when I'm feeling a quick and easy lunch. So onto this bagel I put some vegan mayo, greens, the tempeh and some avocado, and yeah, a delicious quick and easy lunch. We absolutely love to see it. In the afternoon I was in the mood to do a bit of baking, and so I decided to make some scones. Whenever I make scones I always think about Cara, because when we lived together she used to make scones pretty frequently. They were like her favorite thing to bake, and they were always so good and so delicious. Anyway, I decided to make some scones today. I will leave a link to the recipe that I followed down in the description box below, because these were actually really good and so quick and easy to make. I think that's something that's so good about scones. They really do not take long at all, and I definitely appreciate that. Once they were all baked, I decided to enjoy a couple of them whilst they were warm with some coconut yogurt as well as this delicious strawberry jam, and this was a lovely little afternoon sweet treat that I enjoyed very much so. When it came to dinner time, I was having a pretty early dinner, and this ended up being probably my favorite meal of the week. I feel like I've been saying that a lot recently, but to me there's always a meal that completely stands out as something that I enjoyed so much. And with this one I started by making some crumbled tofu. I just put some soy sauce, some garlic and some olive oil through this, and then put it into the oven to bake. Whilst that was happening, I also julienne peeled some cucumber, and I also put some soba noodles on to cook. Then I got into making a peanut sauce with some smooth peanut butter as well as some soy sauce, some lime juice as well as some water to thin it out, and I whisked this all together until it was nice and smooth. Then I added in those soba noodles which had cooled down, as well as the cucumber and some sesame seeds, and I mixed this together well. Then I am adding this into a bowl, topping with that crispy crumbled tofu as well as some coriander, and this was absolutely divine. On Thursday morning my breakfast was pretty simple. I had some leftover avocado as well as a bagel, and I recently tried this vegan sun-dried tomato feta that I had found at a health food store, and it's really good. I had a tiny bit of that left in the fridge, and so I put that onto the bagel with the avocado. Then I also got into making this kind of like frappe situation. It was some ice, some of the Panna chocolate ice cream, as well as some soy milk, some vanilla, maple syrup and cocoa powder, and I blitzed this all together in my blender, and it made this lovely like frappe milkshake situation. I don't know, but it was really good. Then in the mid-morning I had a lovely beach moment with my friend, and I was eating a yellow nectarine, which was so good. This actually was such a magical morning. Once we were swimming, we soon realized that there was this amazing massive school of fish that just kept coming. We were in the water for like 20 minutes, and over that 20 minutes the fish did not stop coming. They were swimming right near our feet. I tried to get some footage just to show how many of them there were. I'm not exaggerating when I feel like there was like at least 5,000 fish. It was absolutely amazing. The water was so clear, and we actually ended up seeing these sea eagles come, and they were flying over, and they were like just absolutely amazing. It was such a beautiful moment and morning where we were just like totally amazed by nature. So I had to share that with you in this video. When I got home I decided to make myself a lovely lunch with some chickpeas that I put some spices and oil with, mixed together, and then transferred these into the oven to bake. Whilst they were baking I also cut up some fresh cucumber as well as some cherry tomatoes, and I sliced this all finely, and then I also cooked some pearl couscous over the heat. I love couscous so much, and recently I'm really getting back into it because it's so quick and easy to use. I also made a really quick hemp pesto kind of sauce. It honestly wasn't the best sauce that I have ever made. I did not have enough basil from our herb garden to make it as herby as I would like to, but that is okay. I added all of these ingredients to a bowl with this delicious pesto sauce. It doesn't really look like a pesto, it's more like a nutritional yeast cashew sauce at that point. But this once again was a really fresh and delicious lunch, and especially good after a morning swim. For dinner, I started by putting some soaked cashews as well as some sun-dried tomatoes, some tinned tomatoes, garlic powder, smoked paprika, veggie stock powder, nutritional yeast, and some soy milk into my food processor, and I blitzed this all together until it was smooth. I also then cooked up some pasta, and once it was al dente, removed it from the heat, drained all of the water, and then I'm adding in this delicious pasta sauce, mixing this all together well and cooking for a few more minutes before I removed it from the heat. This one served 2, and I sprinkled some nutritional yeast on top. It was really delicious and easy summer pasta sauce as well. On Friday morning, before I head out for the morning, I prepped some overnight oats with some hemp seeds and some soy milk as well as some vanilla, and I mixed this all together, and then I'm going to put this into a jar. I also added in some of the delicious blueberry jam that I've been loving recently and piled this all together before putting it into the fridge to set whilst I head out for the morning. I went out for a gorgeous morning walk with my friend Megs. It was so nice. The water once again crystal clear, the views immaculate, and it was a really gorgeous way to spend the day. We've honestly been pretty lucky with the summer weather here lately. Sometimes we can have really rainy summers, and whilst we've had our fair share of days like that, for the most part it has been really gorgeous. And after our morning walk, we decided to have a lovely morning swim. Once again, the water was absolutely crystal clear and gorgeous, and just perfect swimming conditions and a lovely way to spend the day. So when it came to lunch, I started by cutting up some tofu, and I'm once again going to add this into a bowl with some veggie stock powder and some corn flour and toss it to coat. And then I'm going to fry this up in a frying pan. You can bake or fry tofu like this and it gets really nice and crispy. With this one, I fried it up because I knew I was going to pour over a peanut sauce, and I love making this really simple peanut butter sauce. It has so much flavor and is just so delicious. It's such a staple for me. I had a few bao buns in the freezer, and so I steamed those and then got into assembling some baos for lunch. So I had some spinach as well as some cucumber, the peanut butter tofu, and leftover peanut butter sauce, and it was absolutely divine. Now on Friday night, we went to our friend's house for dinner and a movie night, and coincidentally, my friends decided to make this delicious creamy pasta with the buffalo tofu, and I shared this in my recent What I Eat in a Week video because we went to another friend's house and they made this delicious meal for us, and so many of you asked for the recipe, and so I was so excited to see that they decided to cook it and cook this meal that we had made by other friends, because I'm so excited to be able to share it with you. So I'm going to leave that all linked below for you, but it was so delicious, such a great way to end the week. And we watched Dune, which is we watched Dune Part 2, I should say, which is my partner's favorite movie, and we were sharing it with our friends and they were watching it for the first time. So it was a really gorgeous way to end the week, and that ends What I Eat in a Week. As a vegan, I really hope you enjoyed this video. You found some delicious new meals to try out at home, and I look forward to seeing you next week in another video.